Strange but true stories. Tales from the light side, the dark side, and the other side. I'm Steve White. Today's story has a mix of all three of those things. We've done a lot of stories over the past several years, and one of the folks that we met along the way was a guy named Dakota. We've done several stories about how he has helped others in the past, but one of our most popular was when we first met him, and he told us the story of how he had visions of his daughter even before she was born. And it was that meeting that saved his life and kept him going. We had a few different responses sent to us since that video dropped to the channel, and one of them we will share with you today. It is from a woman who had a very similar experience to Dakota's. She too was going through a rough patch in her life until she met Rebecca for the first time. And again, this is from the perspective of a young woman. I've been watching your videos off and on for a few years, but recently I got a little addicted and was going back through to catch up on old videos I had missed, and I came across the story of Dakota, the guy that was saved from suicide after seeing his daughter and an angel. I've always shied away from sharing my story. I didn't want people to think I was crazy. But after hearing his, I felt compelled to share mine. So here goes. In my early 20s, I found myself in an abusive marriage. Logically, I knew I needed to leave, but emotionally, I felt completely trapped. I used to dream about committing suicide. I even had a plan at one time, or ending up in the hospital and someone discovering the abuse. Not the best dreams, I know, but such was my mental state at the time. I just knew I wanted to leave, but I didn't really know how. After a few years of this, my dreams suddenly changed. One night, I had a dream that I gave birth to a daughter who I named Rebecca after my grandma, who had recently passed away. I didn't have any children, nor was I pregnant at the time. I knew it would be the worst thing in the world to bring a child into the hell I was living, so I took every precaution necessary to make sure that never happened. Anyway, nearly every night for the next year, Rebecca would visit me in my dreams. She grew from a baby to a little girl of about 6 years old. She had long blonde hair and the most striking blue eyes I had ever seen. The dreams were completely normal, day-to-day stuff, nothing special. But I lived for those dreams. I felt more alive in those dreams than I had felt in a long time. During this time, I also started gaining the strength and courage to leave my abusive husband, until one day I finally did. And the same day, the dream stopped. A few weeks later, my friends dragged me out of town for a girls' weekend. We spent most of the weekend hanging out in a hotel room, drinking, eating pizza, and bashing on my ex. The first night, after a few drinks, one of my friends, let's call her Casey, started telling us about a dream she had. Casey was always having dreams and visions, so it wasn't odd for her to just randomly start sharing one with us. Well, in this dream, Casey said she was sitting in her living room when a little girl, who, from her description, I knew was Rebecca, wearing a yellow dress with sunflowers on it, came up to her and asked her where her mom was. Casey told her that she didn't know who the child's mother was, so she couldn't help. The little girl replied, "Yes, you do. You'll see her soon. Just let her know that she's okay now. And she'll see me again when she sees my daddy." Casey went on talking about trying to find the mom and getting the message to her. I was in shock. I was physically shaking. I hadn't told anyone the story of my dream daughter at this point, so there was no way that Casey could have known about Rebecca or been able to describe her perfectly. My friends soon realized my silence and asked me what was wrong. So I opened up to them and I told them the story of Rebecca. All the dreams that I had had, from her birth up until maybe 6 years old, and then how they all stopped the day that I left my ex. Casey, who had always been sensitive to the spirit world, believed that since I had left my abusive ex, I no longer needed the reassurance of my daughter visiting my dreams. She said she believed that Rebecca visited her to complete her mission because she didn't want to have to say goodbye to me. The next day, my friends took me to get a tattoo to celebrate my newfound freedom. I decided to get a tattoo to remember the dream daughter who had saved my life. I got a beautiful sunflower with a blue butterfly perched on top of it on my left shoulder blade. Several years later, I did marry again, and this time to an amazing man, and have 2 children, a boy and a girl. The girl, obviously, we named Rebecca. She is only 4 now, so her blonde hair isn't that long, but her eyes are just as strikingly blue as I remember them in my dreams. The other day, she saw my tattoo, and she asked what kind of flower the butterfly was sitting on. I told her it was a sunflower, and she replied that it was the most beautiful flower she had ever seen. I will forever treasure the dreams of my daughter visiting me before she was born. I don't know if I would have made it to today without them. I want to tell everyone who has had similar dreams, and especially Dakota, listen to your dreams and stay on the path they have showed you. It will be worth it in the end. Thank you for letting me share my story with someone else. And we appreciate you sharing your story with us. Short and sweet, but a beautiful story nonetheless that really speaks to the working of the mind along with the universe. Is life strictly linear, or is it cyclical? Let us know your thoughts about this story in the comments below. And in this time when we are sheltering in place, and social distancing, and wary of human contact, it is an important message to everybody watching that you matter. You make a difference in someone's life every day. You're important. And if you're in a dark place and need to talk to someone, the National Suicide Prevention Hotline is available. Their number is 800-273-8255. Reach out to them if you need to. We appreciate each and every one of you as members of the SBT family. Subscribe if you haven't already, and we're on Patreon now as well. If you want to support us in a little different way, a link is below. Thanks for watching this video. I'm Steve White. Until next time.